Julian is in the same position as a lot of you. Even though he might be an international sports star, he might be quite a famous sports star, he still coaches at schools and he still coaches school kids. And he's also in the same problem as everybody else, sitting at home and looking for ways to coach kids and looking to see what he can do to try and improve his coaching techniques, his coaching abilities with the kids, and get the kids out there, get the kids active, and get the kids training. Just as Cassie said, there are some sports that have gone back on the one-on-ones, but you can't still do it as a team sport yet, and you can't still play matches. So let's go and see what Julian's about. And welcome, Julian. Welcome to our session today.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Julian, just to start things off, I'm sure a lot of the coaches here are actually here because of you and because of the Q Sports and because of Marcel. But can you just fill in who you are and what's your claim to fame in hockey?
Claim to fame to hockey, scoring the opening goal at the World Cup 2010 World Cup in India.
So can you please talk to us about your journey within the hockey space and where it started and how you got to playing for the South African hockey side?
Yeah, Sean, I started playing hockey 1997 or 98. I think I was 16 or 15. Because I played rugby first and I broke my ankle like 3 times and my mother threw me with the hockey stick and said it's time to go play the family sport now, and I started 96, 97, 98. So 98 I made board under 16 Bs for hockey, and then the next year I didn't make no hockey team, 1999. And then 2000 I made the A side. 2001 till 2004 I played under 21, board under 21. And then border men's from 2004 till 2009 or 10. And I moved up to Northwest where my friend organized me a job to go coach Northwest University. So I was there for 2 years. I'm here like 7 years now. And I made my essay debut 2007 against Scotland in Pretoria. I was actually lucky to get chosen there because the coach came around for Eastern Cape to do some clinics and stuff, and he saw me. Then he's like, please come up for a session, let's see what you're about. And funny story, I got dropped for a year. 2007 January I made my debut, and I got dropped for that whole year, and we had IPT, and then I got put back into the squad for Olympics, 2008 Olympics. And since then I have never looked back.
That's fantastic. And how many games did you play for South Africa? And now you've gone on and played in a lot of international competitions. And so just fill us in with a bit of where you've played and what tournaments you've played in and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Africa Cup winners for 5 years, 2009 till 2017. And I went to 2010 World Cup, 2014 World Cup, 2018 World Cup, 2012 Olympics, yeah, 2014, 2010 Commonwealth Games. I've got currently retired, but I retired on 135 games for South Africa.
Wow, that's amazing, 135
And I played
games.
some club hockey. Yeah, I played club hockey in Belgium for 3 months, 2010, 2011. And then I went to go play in Germany for 3 months as well, 2014, 2015.
Oh, that's incredible. So with all this international experience, you've had quite a few different coaches that you played under. What kind of lessons have you learned from these international coaches that you can bring to the kids to help the coaches today with their coaching?
The first things first that we do as coaches that I've learned from our coaches to enjoy it first. If you don't enjoy it, then why are you doing it? And the fundamentals of coaching is just to do the basics right. See, in South Africa, I think we have a problem with our basics not being right. So we start off primary school, a teacher just asked to get coach a kid, and then they mess up the whole basics. Then they need to fix it in high school. Sometimes you're unlucky, you don't get it right in high school as well. Then you only get to learn more about hockey when you finish with school. Then you get proper coaches there. So I think I was lucky with the coaches I had. With Greg Clark helping me loads.
So that's quite amazing because I actually see quite a few ex-international players that have come back into hockey and that are coaching hockey. So how important is it that you got some top coaches that are or top players that have now retired and they've come back, and they haven't come back just at the national level or international level, they've come back as school coaches. And I know we get in other sports, but I mean, specifically in hockey, there's a lot of you guys coming back to give back to the kids.
Yeah, because we know the struggles when you're international, because we're so behind, Sean. So if we get more international players coaching at schools, the basics will get coached properly. The knowledge of hockey, the tactics, the fitness, the nutrition, what to do, how to get where you need to be. That's very important, and I'm happy that most of the guys are doing it. So that's just to fast track our future that's coming through. Because when we played in Germany and in Belgium, those international guys, they help coach the junior structures. So that's why they always ahead of us and in front of us.
Now, you've spoken about a typical problem that we've got here in South Africa. We've got a lot of kids that are extremely talented, are very good, but there is a nutrition problem here. And you were telling me the other day that we play against some teams like in Nigeria or something like that, and those kids are like twice our size. Never mind kids, adults too.
Massive.
And so how can we deal, how do you help, or I know you had a more affluent school, but how do you help out, and what suggestions do you have on the nutritional side of things?
See, when I played also, we had a nutritional lady that set us out what to eat and what not to eat. So I share that knowledge with the kids that I know, especially the Baloo kids, Baloo Hockey Academy kids, because they are very, very talented people. So we share that knowledge and not to try and eat funny foods like KFCs and all that food that's fattening and takes all your energy away. So they must eat properly. So we help them in that way. So I think I still have that lady's email somewhere where I just share with the boys.
Now, hockey, you learn certain skills. There's a lady here up in Joburg, you must probably remember her, who she is, who played for the South African hockey team for many, many years. And she learned that through hitting the ball, a hockey ball against a garage door, and then the ball rebounding in funny directions because the surface that she's playing on got the ball to bounce differently, and her reactions were so quick. She's taken that up, and she's actually won World Cups for South Africa, for New Zealand at rugby, for different teams, from just what she had actually learned through her own program or through playing hockey. So there's a lot of skills that you can learn from hockey. What kind of skills can you pass on to other sports too, if kids want to play two sports?
Yeah, hockey and cricket goes hand in hand because there's hand-eye coordination. And then the techniques and the way you hold the stick and the way you hold a cricket bat, because I also played a bit of cricket. So the way you hold everything, that's very important, because they just give you a hockey stick and say, play. And then you playing and you hitting the ball skew and the ball's flying all over the shop. So it's important to have the right techniques as well. So that's interesting what you just said about the lady hitting the ball against the garage door.
Yeah, she's coached the Springboks, she's coached the All Blacks, and if I can remember correctly, she even won a World Cup with England, if I'm not mistaken, at rugby. So she's won more World Cups as an assistant coach than any other coach in the world. I could be wrong with my stats, but as far as I understand, that's what she's done. And she helps out people with different other different kinds of sports, like motor racing. She's quite well known. She sits here in Joburg, and she's got her offices here. So one of the things about hockey is that, unfortunately, and this is a question that's come from one of the coaches that's actually listening in, is that SASCOC often gives hockey a hard time. That when you're trying to enter into the Olympics, you try and take part in the Olympics. You get blocked because you might be the best team in Africa, but you're not the best in the top 8 in the world. Or as a hockey player, how does that make you feel? Or as a hockey coach, how does that make you feel?
Yes, Dishona, super, super irritating, because I missed out at 2016 Olympics, Rio Olympics. They didn't send us to Olympics. It's a super frustrating, and it's also sad. South African Hockey Association, I think that's also their fault. Because scary enough, 2000 I was under 18, we played in Pietermaritzburg, And Craig Nickel came to come and speak to us because they couldn't go to 2000 Athens Olympics because of players of color that's not there. So South African hockey never put stuff into place, I think, I might be wrong, for the process to go smoothly with Sesco. So they just want transformation and 50-50s and all that nonsense they want. Frustrating as a hockey player because you don't want to get chosen as you're there because you're a quota player, you're a non-white player. Sesco also needs to come to the party because they're sending soccer guys that doesn't even qualify to play Africa Cup. But we can't go that qualifies for Olympics.
I can understand that's very frustrating. Then hand in hand with the economical side of things, that you guys really, sometimes, no matter how good you are and how many tournaments you win, I mean, winning being African champions 5 years in a row, there's phenomenal teams like Egypt and teams like that always are up in the Olympics. They always do well in international tournaments and things. And on that difficult part of getting a sponsor, you've got guys like an Andile Petlakwayo, got people that, I mean, he got a bursary at Glenwood for hockey and ended up playing for the Proteas in cricket. Now, I know that happens, and that's part of the movement in sport, and I'm not sure about his reasons about moving to the cricket space, but a lot of kids move to that kind of space just due to the fact that there's not many of the male players get paid all that much money. So they'd rather go to another sport where they can get paid more. So how many kids do you actually end up losing like that?
Yeah, there's lots of kids who lose to cricket. So I've got a few mates of mine that also played hockey that was very good. They don't come meet the Bennett twins. Then they have to go because if you play hockey, you end up paying to go on tours. So it becomes, makes sense, Sean?
Sorry, your whole answer, it was very, I think you lost a bit of signal on your side. Can you repeat the answer, please?
Yeah, we lost a lot. We always lose guys to cricket because of they get paid and we pay to go on tournaments. Even sometimes you pay to go on an international tournament. So then it becomes a case of who can afford it and who can't afford it. So the cricket guys will always beat us because of their sponsors and getting paid. I think that's why Andile Petlakwayo left. There's lots of guys that left. Robin Peterson, Ryan McLaren. All those guys played hockey as well, international hockey.
Yeah, I think the last person, if I'm not mistaken, that played both international rugby and cricket together was Tami Tsolekile, if I'm not mistaken. And then prior to him, it was...
Hockey and cricket.
Yeah. And prior to him, it was John T. Rhodes, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been quite big gaps.
Sean Pollock even played hockey. Apparently, he's a very good hockey player.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, and I know Ryan McLaren was fantastic. He's still very passionate about his hockey, but as you said,
I played with him a lot against him.
And his money's coming from the cricket space. And even now, he's a cricket coach at Grey College. So now, once again, it's still, we've got the point that, you also lose a lot of kids, even at the school stage, because some of the kids might continue with hockey at school, but then give it up when they leave school. But on the women's side, they've also got the same problems with sponsorship. But do you still lose the same amount of women in the high school like you'll lose in the men because a guy gets good in cricket and he'll drop hockey? Do you still have the same problem with women?
I don't think so. I think they just keep plugging away. They keep playing. There's nothing else unless they're super tall and play catch and post netball.
Are there a lot of women that are playing now overseas, especially in the UK now, aren't there?
Yeah, we've got a lot of women that's been playing overseas for the last 10 years. Only way you can get money is if you're super passionate about hockey, is to go play overseas and make money. And still study online to get your degree or whatever you need.
Hockey is, it's often played by a lot of the Model C schools and private schools. What is the talent like coming through from that side? But then are you getting also a lot of talent from the lesser affluent schools?
Yeah, that's a tough one. See, I'm from East London, the Johannesburg development side, I don't really know about, because since I've been here, I've been at Dainfern College. So I know that in the Eastern Cape, there's pools, tons of talent that's coming through with the schools levels, coming from the schools right through. Then they get snapped up by Model C schools anyway.
And in the Model C schools and in your tournaments, you must see some outstanding talent now.
Yes, there is this crazy show. These boys are playing hockey in the air. They are so good. It's like 10 times better than when we played. So SA Hockey is in good hands. There's enough talent to compete with the world. We just need to nurture the talent and keep them interested.
When preparing for hockey, what are the standard exercises to keep the team fit or to keep skills sharp? As hockey is a very skilled sport, and specifically now that we're in lockdown and you can't have on-field coaching. What are you doing to try and get the kids, fit and strong and ready to start the season next year?
Yeah, fitness. That's all they can do at the moment. So there's lots of fitness stuff you can do. If you have weights at home, you're lucky. You can do lots of stuff so you can get strong again. If you don't, it's also not a trance-based. There's like body weight exercises you can do. We send for the kids. There's lots of running you can do. You can run around in your garage even. It all depends on the individual, how serious they are. So if you fit, then the hockey for me, if you're super fit, everything else falls into place.
I was talking to Zanella Mdodana from netball, from Marty's netball, and she was saying that whilst her athletes are very fit, the problem with netball is that you've got funny movements you have to make on the court and jarring kind of movements that you have to do, and that could lead to injury because you're not having the on-field kind of stuff. And I think hockey, to a certain degree, I mean, you've got a lot of that kind of stuff that you've got to get used to, and also with the ball flying around like it does, you've got to be able to react to it very quickly. And you can't do that too much in your garage. So how can you actually train for that kind of stuff? Because that's quite difficult to train for.
Yes, if your garage is big enough to train for that, I say so. Because all the movements you do is not like massive 20-meter movements. It's like 3-4 meter movements you're doing. So your garage must be bigger than 3 or 4 meters. So it's all the jumping, forward, backwards, all that movements.
And for stick skills, what do you encourage the guys to do for that?
Yo, stick skills, you just have to do yardsticks and get your wrist and your forearms back into it. Because when you start playing again, your back's going to be sore, your arms, your hands, your forehand, everything's going to be sore when you start. So if you stay in your garage and you keep doing your yardsticks, and you're doing running with the ball, running around, dribbling with the ball, when the season starts, you'll be fine.
With your with the dribbling, okay. So sorry, I've got a question that's coming from one of the coaches. How are you keeping your kids at school active and interested in sport?
Yeah, difficult question. We send them. So we have groups at school. So we have a first team group, under 16, under 14 group. What I try and do is send them programs to do at home. So I send them the whole program with videos, what to do with the exercises, and telling them that, remember, there's first team sports up for grab. There's under 16s that coming into first team. So you need to stay motivated. If you're not fit, when we start, unfortunately, we're going to have to take a junior ahead of you. So that's what I'm trying to get them and keep them involved.
Now, because you're the director of hockey, so it's not that you just only coach one team. How do you get the long player development going through from your juniors to your seniors? What are you trying to look at, and how do you encourage the coaches to communicate and participate?
Yeah, it's simple. Everyone does the same from under 14 till the first team, so it's easier to come through the ranks. And again, at our school, we go from grade 0 till grade 12, but we seem to lose our grade 7s that goes to St. John's, Cares, all that schools. Then it's like almost start over again in grade 8. So then we have to start with the basics again and work it up and work it up.
And so to get that kind of culture, do you sit down and have like planning strategy sessions and with the coaches, and you all sit down and you communicate? How do you organize that?
Yeah, so I have one-on-ones with the coaches, and I tell them this is what I expect from them, and this is what the school expects from me. So we keep it's like trying to keep the same stream from under 14 to first team. This is what I want you to do under 14, so we work on basics. Under 16, they need to understand tactics. So when they come to first team, they just fall straight into the first team, knowing this is what we want to do. And then I coach the first team, and then we work on different tactics depending on who we're playing against.
And do you, you know, once the guys move on, because now you've gone on for yourself, you've coached at, I think the under 23s, you've coached also like a senior indoor hockey. What are the things that are like missing, that the players are missing, that should be done at school, and you're having to do it when they come to that provincial level? What is missing out in those players?
It's just an understanding of hockey. Even when I was at Poch under 21s for Northwest, I had so many talented players, but the understanding of the game and the know-how and why we're doing stuff, it's just crazy for me to understand why they don't understand it at that age. Because even for me, I got fast-track fast. So you learn quickly. And then obviously you're thinking it's happening in other provinces, but it's not happening. So then you have to start, like I say, with the grade 7s to grade 8. Same with under 21s and provincial. It is crazy that people don't understand what is going on because of the coaching that's been done before and what you as a coach get now that you have to also fix. So we also had an international player by us for 2007, 8, 9, 10 maybe. The guy came to international camp. He couldn't hit a hockey ball. The coach had to show him how to hit a hockey ball. And I was sitting there, I'm like, why are we internationals if you can't do the basics of hockey, but you want to be an international hockey player? So we're missing a link somewhere as South African hockey players.
Would that come down to more of a communication between the entire federation down to the unions, or is this a individual provincial communication that should be going down to the schools themselves?
Yes. See, maybe I'm seeing stuff differently because of playing in Europe and seeing what they're doing. So, for instance, in Belgium and in Germany, the club structures, they don't have school sports, it's like club structure that works through the club. And all the clubs play the same as an international team. So if the international team plays formation 4-4-2, and they're trying to overlap on the sides or whatever, all the clubs play the same. In South Africa, it is so different. Everyone's got their own idea. No one wants to sit together and have, like we're having now, a webinar, where you have all the coaches sitting together. Look at, this is our plan for South Africa. We're going to start with under 16s, straight to the men's side. This is how we want everyone to play, even provincial tournaments. But we can't sit together because our egos are too big, but we've won nothing, but the egos are super big.
It's something that I learned also from the protest side when Enoch Nokwe came back from Holland. He was talking to me. We were at a cricket tournament at St. David's, and he was saying that it's amazing to see what the structures in Holland and how professional they are in Holland, because they've got limited resources and they've only got X amount of cricketers. And even if you look at just the amount of just the population size, I'd assume that, the Dutch hockey is phenomenal, but they're going to maximize on limited resources like that. Do you think that that's part of the problem, is that we've got so many good players and so many different players that are coming through that you don't actually have to focus as hard because you know you've got another player coming?
Yeah, maybe, but it's just, I don't know what to say to you there, Sean. It's just difficult in South Africa. I don't know why we're making it difficult. It's actually easy. But we complicate stuff so badly, and the guys, there's too much in-house fighting. And no one wants to be straightforward with no one. Unless you're straightforward, we will grow as a sport. Look at how cricket and rugby, how they've grown.
Yeah, how do you, so what kind of structures do they have then? Because you've spoken about what they've done a bit in Belgium. Can you explain it to us in a little bit more detail on how they actually communicate down and how they get this one system to go from the national side all the way down to the little kids that are knocking around in the background, in the backyard kind of thing?
So if I'm not mistaken, so they have the Belgium national coach, so the main Belgium side coach. So he sits, and this is how we are going to play for Belgium, and this is what I expect from you. So when I come down to come watch a normal club game, this is what I want to see. And then they all fall into the plan, and then they have, like, you know, the webinars and Zoom calls where everyone is on the screen. Then they start sharing and chatting to each other. That's how they do it. And that's why Belgium has become so successful. You know, Sean, we used to beat Belgium. And then all of a sudden, Belgium won World Cup 2018. We used to beat those guys.
Where else did you play besides for in Belgium?
In Germany as well.
Now, their structures must be also quite good. I've seen on their football side, their structures are phenomenal. So what are their structures like there?
Yeah, same. You Germans are, there's a straight line. If you go off that line, you're out the team. So they pedantic, those guys. This is how they play. But they play a simple formation. Even a simple formation as they play, we can even it up. So they play man-to-man all over the field. All the teams, all the juniors, everyone plays one way. So then there's no blaming game saying, Sean, that was supposed to be your man. Julian, that was your man. No, they can see on the video that poof, they didn't mark his man, and they are so strict that they coach does the prep work. He comes up with ideas, gives it to the coaches. Coaches follow. Boom, easy peasy. Then when you get to international, it's not like it's a, ooh, what are we doing here? I understand what is going on here now because you've come through the ranks.
One of the things that's always difficult to teach is the reading of the game and understanding of the game. It's one thing teaching the guy how to run up and down the field and, you know, hit the ball and certain structures, but how do you teach a player to, especially a school kid, on how to read the game? We've got a problem here with, especially I see a lot in the rugby space, especially where a coach dictates from the sidelines every single move on the field. So the kids come off the field and they've learned nothing about strategy. So how do you do it from your side, or how can you do that in the hockey space?
The hockey space is the cameras, the games, and then after the game they sit down. To the cameraman ticks on Sean. Whenever you touch the ball, they'll tick your name, Sean, or whenever the ball's in your vicinity around you. Then your name comes up, Sean, Julian, all our names pop down. So they have a column for you there. If we go in there after the game, so we're going to go analyze them. So then we sit down with the computer. Sean, this is what you did wrong. Can you see what happened here? This is your option. But you must come there with the book, Sean. So normally we would do this wrong. So we go to a video session, but you go to a video session like I'm sitting now. But you don't have a book because now your brain is not that strong to remember everything. You need to write stuff down so that next time you won't forget what to do and what you did wrong. So when you come to the video session, you write your notes down, what you've done right, what the coach wants from you, and what did you see. So as a coach as well, you need to ask the guys. You mustn't just spoon feed. What do you think you could have done better? Here, there. What was your options? Yes, ABC. You mustn't spoon feed. They must also let you know what they see because you can't play for them. So they see the game and you see it different. You're giving them more options to what to do.
I see some questions have come through. The first one is that you said that you lose a lot of players to other schools. How do you handle it? How do you just keep on playing the school and keep the school being very competitive, even though you lose so many players?
Yeah, you have to go like you have a plan, a 4-year plan, and then start again with the 4-year plan and a 4-year plan, 4-year plan. Because there's always a stage at school. So for me, I had a very good squad 2017, 2018, where we got promoted to 8 and A section. And then after that, we got back to B section and then became became so difficult that we just stayed up in the B section. I think that was also up to my about that the junior structures, that you also have to look after them coming through the ranks. Because once if you just focus on the first team, you lose out on under 16s, under 14s. So when they come there, you forgot in your head that you need to worry about this 2 other age groups that you need to look after. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. And then you spoke about your injuries. So there's also quite a few questions about injuries. So what are the most common injuries that you get within the hockey space?
Ankles and knees.
You said that you broke
Everyone
your
would think
ankle
it's
3
like
times.
getting hit with a ball in the face.
Now, that was just when I was playing hockey. I was actually caught quite a few times with stick up and hitting people on the head and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you said that you actually got you broke your ankle 3 times. How did you get back into it once you
rugby.
broke it? Oh, it was playing rugby. Okay. What's your worst injury that you got playing
and
hockey?
in hockey is my ligaments. Ankles again, ligaments, torn ligaments, 4 in the left ankle, 3 in the right ankle.
And how do you come back from something like that? Because you're in the team, it's not just the physical coming back, is that you've just got somebody that can coach you and train you up, but how do you come back mentally to it?
It's, again, if you want to do something, you will go for it wholeheartedly. You can't be in between and worry about your injuries. So if you set yourself a goal, that's what we all do. We set ourselves a goal. I want to be international hockey player. Once you get to international hockey, then you're like, ooh, do I really want to do this? This is not nice. I'm not getting treated well. Everyone hates me. I'm not playing well. I can't do this. I can't do that. So if you want to be an international hockey player, you need to take the pros or the cons. It is super tough. It looks nice. The difficult part for me is the preparation, the gym work, fitness. That is a difficult part. Your reward you get when you play an international hockey game. Because then you know you're prepared. Nothing can go wrong in your head because you've prepared well for this one game. But you need to be fit. Mentally super strong.
We did something with Bandisa Marco quite a few years ago at Craven Rugby. And we spoke about one of the kids from Southwestern Districts asked, how do you balance your rugby with your playing with your academics when you go to varsity, with your social life and stuff? And he pretty much said to the guys, if you really want it, you'll go for the rugby. If you find that you've got distractions, that you want to spend time with your friends, then spend time with your friends and do academics. Forget about becoming a professional rugby player. Just play rugby as for fun. Is that pretty much what you're kind of saying there also?
Yeah, and then the important thing also, Sean, as a young kid growing up playing sports, you need to choose your friends very well. Because you'll have some friends that will say, come, let's go party, but they know you have to train. So you also have to be strong in saying no to your friends, but you will still have friends, but just choose the right friends. That's in your circles and what you want to become. Because it's easy to get distracted.
Just on that, I mean, your school's also got a very, very big focus on academics. It's one of the big selling points or reason why the kids want to go to go to your school. So how do you get the balance between both the sport and the academics without the one, running all over the other one or taking charge of the other one? How do you get the balance going?
For me, the first thing I say to the kids, academics come first, but you also need to prepare your life and your week. So if you know you got an exam, you need to study. You can't come on the point and say, Coach, I can't come to training because I haven't studied. You're writing on a Thursday, that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we train Tuesday, Thursday, so you need to be there, and we play hockey matches on a Wednesday. So you need to sort your life out because you know what you want. But if you're really behind, let me know so I can go ask your teacher. That's what I do because kids like to take chances. Coach, I can't make it, I have to study, I have to do this. Then I go ask your teacher. How much did you get in an easy exam? Because I like to fool around. It's a good balance to have, but academics comes first because that's what puts you through. Ultimately, it's nice to play international sports, but your academics will give you a living and a life if you fail with sports. I was lucky, I don't have no degree, but I made it through playing hockey only.
Yeah, that's another thing that it's. I mean, you're lucky from your side, but I'm sure you don't need a degree. You can also still study it. You can get diplomas. You can study a lot more into your sport itself. But
Yeah.
even if you are a top star, unless you're, I don't know, a Messi or somebody like that, a lot of players come in and they play international sport and they've got nothing to fall back on. They've got nothing to do. How do you encourage the guys? Because now you're sitting with the guy, even talking about from a national level, never mind a schoolboy level. How do you kind of encourage the guys now? And you're talking from like a hindsight kind of perspective. How do you encourage a guy to say, listen, spend some time still studying, spend some time focusing on something that you can do in the future? How do you motivate or talk to the younger players that are coming through the system?
There's there's enough examples around us. We don't even need to tell them this is what's going to happen. Look at Funeko and Gum, those guys that play cricket. They're also in the coaching business. If he didn't get injured, he would have played forever. And luckily, he got the coaching part right, so he made it. There's simple, small examples. Where I'm from in East London, there's plenty. So I just show the kids, even my kids, they're very talented. What comes naturally to, I'm not being racist now. What comes naturally to a colored boy? Play. So spend time in your studies. The hockey part just flows past.
Yeah, we had Gummy talking a couple of weeks back, and what I found amazing about him, and it could also be because of his injuries and things, but being an international star, playing professional sport, now you've got to take a step back. There's a switch between being a player and a coach. How do you make that switch where it's not about you anymore, now it's about somebody else?
It takes time, Sean. It is super tough to do that. Because now when I started coaching first, like many years ago. So when you start coaching, was you thinking about, I would do this. Why doesn't he do that? But then you have to look back again and say, it's just a school kid or it's just a provincial player that still needs to get where you want to be. So you need to have that balance between taking out the emotions that you as a player would do this, and you need to understand what that player is that you're trying to help. What is he's thinking about? How is he doing what and what and what? Because at the beginning, coaching it is tricky and it's difficult. But once you get the balance, you will start enjoying it so much more.
I've got a question here about family life. So, because as a player, you spend so much time away from home already. Playing, and finally you retire, you come back home, and you're out in the field 7 days a week, pretty much. How do you balance your family life? How does your family fit in, and how do you work out your family life?
You're lucky for me. My whole family plays hockey. I've got a baby now turning a year next week Sunday. I've got two boys, so they play hockey, so they're with me almost every day playing hockey. And then when we have indoor hockey, my wife runs a canteen at Dainfern College, so she's also involved with hockey. So we together when it's hockey. So I'm lucky in that aspect.
How do you see other players doing it? Because not everybody's lucky like you.
I personally, for me, when I played international, being away from home and my wife was waiting for me with the kids, it takes a strain on both parties, I think, the wife and the husband. So and once again, it's what you feel comfortable doing, and you need to communicate with your wife. This is my goals. This is what I want to do. Are you with me? So if they're not with you, then you can't do it, or then you need to retire or look for something different to do. But everyone needs to be on board, especially husband and wife. Otherwise, you will have a divorce court case, man.
I've got a question here. You've got in cricket, you've got a lot of guys that left for Colpack contracts and stuff. And with South African hockey, do we have a lot of South Africans that are actually playing overseas for foreign teams?
For foreign countries or clubs?
For foreign countries.
Yeah, lately I've seen guys going. I saw one guy from Cape Town. There's only one I know about. I might be wrong. I can't even remember his name now. He's playing for Canada. So he's the only one I know that moved to Canada to go play for Canada. But he was never on our radars to make SA men's. So that's why I was surprised to see him make the Canada side. Maybe it's easier to play there than here by us.
Where does Canada rank in their hockey?
I think they're a bit higher than us now. Yeah, because of World Cup, we messed up with World Cup. We drew with them, and then we got knocked out round one, and they went further. And so for us, you know how the ranking points works on? So the more internationals you play, the more points you get. And the big tournaments you play, the points you get. So we lost about trillions of points not going to Olympics, firstly. Then we didn't do well at World Cup, and everyone got a surprise. Why are you not doing well at World Cup? Forgetting that we didn't play international hockey for 4 years because of not going to Olympics. We so close. Every time we get so close. The closest we were so good. We beat India at the Olympics. We beat Belgium in the 3 nations just before Olympics. We beat Belgium and Ireland. We drew with Spain, or we beat Spain. And then we beat India again in the 3 nations as well before we played. And then at the Olympics, if the ball was just running our way, we would have been top 6 easily. We lost to Australia 6-0. We lost to Argentina 5-4. We drew with Great Britain 2-2. We lost to Spain 3-2. We lost to Pakistan 3-2. So anyway, that flips, we top 6.
There's sometimes a big gap between like in Australia and or in England and some of the other teams. But India and Pakistan seem to jump up there when suddenly they're one of the top 3, then they jump back again to 8, 9 in the world. What are their structures like, and how come they suddenly they can actually be and compete at such a high level?
Sean, I don't know the structure India and Pakistan, but now India I've seen they've gone. There's an Australian guy, excuse me, there's an Australian guy helping them out now, so he's the head coach. So their structures are falling back into place like the old India. And I think this guy's just also trying to make them as fit as they can be. Because the Indians have got crazy, crazy skills. It's just that they're lazy and they don't want to work off the ball. And when they don't have the ball, they're super lazy. When they have the ball, they're active. But now that guy's changed them so much that Indians are forced to be reckoned with again. Take him on, Bazir. So Indians are forced to be reckoned with again. It's just, when you play India and Pakistan, you don't know what you're going to get on the day. So it's like the similar to cricket. You watch the cricket. When you play Pakistan and you get them on the wrong day, you're knocked out of a tournament. Same by hockey. India and Pakistan is exactly the same.
It actually sounds like India need like what's happened in the cricket space, where you finally get, and I think it started with Ganguly, when you finally got one captain that, because everybody in the team prior to Ganguly becoming captain had captained the side, pretty much. From, I think maybe one of the bowlers hadn't captained the team, and that was it. And then Ganguly came in and set it up, and then from him, Dhoni came in, and now Kohli's taking it to a totally different level. But now they pretty much unstoppable when it comes to cricket. It sounds like they need they've got the same problems in hockey.
They've got the same setup at hockey now. Because those guys, remember they had IPL cricket, then they started IPL hockey, and then this COVID stuff started, so their hockey also started going back upwards. So they got a good captain also going now, and the coaching structures is all falling into place, and they getting rid of the older guys to go out of the system.
How does their IPL hockey work? Does it also have huge amounts of money like in the IPL cricket, or maybe not as much, but still huge amounts of money?
Yeah, there is big money there. The guys went Austin Smith and Justin Reed Ross, Lloyd Norris-Jones, Tim Drummond from us, and Rassie Peterson played one season. So they said decent money. MS Dhoni owns one of the franchises at the hockey.
So you just missed out on it yourself, because that could have been quite nice money for you.
Yeah, that's by us. It's about when the stuff gets out, you find out last, and then when you send it in, it's too late. Sean, I just need to. Can you excuse me, Charlie Komalika? Need to. That's my baby.
Oh, sweet man. I don't see a hockey stick in
He has a hockey stick here somewhere, small one, running around with it already.
So, okay, back to one of the directly on the actual skills itself now. I think you've actually already answered this question, but let's go over it like a little bit more. That on the one-to-one coaching, you said that you focus a lot on the physical, the fitness kind of skills. So, what kind of fitness drills do you get the guys to run?
Fitness, those you have to do 3K runs. You have to do lots of hill running sprints, like 80 meters, 60 meters. And I like to focus on that. Sprint repeat. I hate myself, the sprint repeat. So the stuff I hate, I give to the kids. So the sprint repeat is a new one that came out, the Bronco test. That one is an interesting test. So the Bronco test is from north. You run forward 20 meters. You run back to north 40 meters, back to north 60. Back to north, you do 5, and you need to do it under 4:30 or some 4 minutes 30 seconds. That is hell, that John.
Do you find that now as a coach, certain things, because now you've spoken about physical exercise that you didn't enjoy doing, but now you're doing it, that as a coach now you've understood more why you do certain things. Do you think that would have helped you as a player back in the day if you had understood why you need to do certain drills and certain exercises?
No, Sean, I did the exercises. I just hated doing it. It helps with the fitness, but it's just when you do the running part in all sports, if you name me one sportsman that loves running, I would give him 100 rand. All of us hate the running part. The jump part and pushing iron, that is like the running part. Yes, it's tough, but you get used to it afterwards, and you don't even start moaning, you just run. We did all that running, but it wasn't like it.
Yeah, I'm never at your kind of levels, but I'm one of those guys that actually enjoyed the running part and far less the gymming part. Oh, okay, cool. So one of the things that comes in hockey is that there are a lot of laws in hockey. There's a lot of rules, and some of the players don't, especially at school level, they don't understand them. I know as spectators, we have people screaming from the stands, and you turn around and say, but you didn't understand that. That was actually totally illegal. That was illegal when they're screaming from the stands. How do you manage the coaching of the kids and the explaining to parents, when they come to you and they complain and say, but this happened, and this guy's biased, and this guy's this. How do you explain it to them, and how do you educate the parents and the kids?
Interesting. Just before lockdown started, I was going to have a session with the parents at my school. So they gave me a call and said, Julian, can you please meet up so you can explain to us how the rules work and what is going on and how this works and that works. It's always a difficult one with parents that haven't played the sport to understand what is going on. But the more you explain, the kids also help the parents out, because you have to tell the kids what the rules is and this is how it works. You can't do this, you can do this. The reason why it's A, B, C, D, E, whatever. So the education from the kids, so they help the parents. The kids get so irritated with the parents when they scream from the side and they don't know what is going on. So they try and educate. So we try and educate as where we can.
I do see that and I think you do get a lot of pressure from parents. I think they know a lot more than what you do, or they micromanage you with your coaching. How do you deal with parents? And I know you're talking about now on the rules and regulations side, but how do you deal with them trying to micromanage your coaching and taking what you teach the kids and teaching them something totally different?
Yeah, difficult. Parents, I just tell the parents, this is why I'm doing it, so we can get your kid to a certain level. Please don't interfere with what I'm trying to do, and don't you try and coach the kid. Otherwise, you can take your kid and go coach your kid yourself. It's difficult with parents. But I don't have that problem at Dainfern College, so I'm lucky. Thinking about the other coaches, you have to be straightforward from the start and tell the parents that this is your team and I will coach the team as I see fit. Unless you start losing badly, then the parents will obviously have problems with you.
Yeah, it's and then you also got to, like, I suppose with your long player development side, you've got to explain to the parents what you're planning on doing over the 4-year period or the 5-year period. So when the kid starts in what's it, grade 9 or grade 8, and how you're going to take the kid from grade 8 to matric, and this is the strategy that you've got to grow with them. I think the parents can also measure that, can't they?
Yes. It's always a tricky one to measure that. It changes at 4-year plan, changes sometimes. There's always an up and a down and a straight, and it goes up and down again. It all depends also on the kids that you have, how you strategize, and their parents. That's also there. So even with my school, they gave me a 5-year plan to get the Dainfern first team into Aitken. We've never ever made Aitken A section at Dainfern. So year 4, we won Aitken B section, and then we made it to Aitken A section, and we were like, okay, well, we're doing a good job here. Now my grade 6s and 7s that's coming through, it's going to be easy for them to come through to the next step, because I know these kids, because I'm coaching primary school as well. So the kids that's going to come through, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, we're going to stay here, and then the next 3-4 years we can compete to play top 4 now. So it's easy to say, make A section. Now your goals every time goes up and up and up and up. So then my grade 6s and 7s, grade 7s leave. And that, till today, still I don't understand why and how it works. Because our grade 7s, we unbeaten. We haven't lost a game in the last 3-4 years. Then they just go to other schools.
It must be very, very frustrating. Starting from scratch every single time, and you get them so far, and then you got a different team.
Yeah, it's so difficult. If you know me, Sean, you know how frustrated I get with working with these kids from grade 3 till 7, and then someone else gets your hard work that you've put in.
So, what are the schools that are your biggest competitors here in Joburg? And do you guys play? Do you travel around the country too and play?
No, we don't travel around the country. We just go to, every year we go to Treverton, here in Maritzburg or something. That's one tournament we go to, and our straight rivalries, unfortunately for me, it's Paloo College, because that's where my friends coach and where all the talented guys that come from Eastern Cape, from Northern Cape, that goes to Paloo. So when we play against them, it's very, very tough. I don't think we win a game there, the whole derby day. We beat their first team once, though, 2017 or 2018, we beat their first team. First time also. Because they put a lot of money into their hockey. So we don't do bursaries and scholarships at our school. Or we do a scholarship for one kid and like that. But they do like wholesale scholarship.
They've also got a good football program. One of the speakers the last time around, Ronan Butcher, he's got a football program there. And what he's done is that he's written a book. He played cricket for England, but he's actually West Indian. And he's written a football coaching manual, which says, and it's a bit what you spoke about earlier on, if you're 12 years old, this is what you need to focus. This is what you need to do for a kid at that age. 13 years old, you need to do this, and how to structure coaching sessions and how to run them. And what's the aim for that session. And if you miss out on a certain tick, you can do it in the next training session. You don't have to necessarily do it in this one here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, hockey is a massive sport in South Africa, even though it doesn't get the same kind of headlines as rugby, especially at school level. Rugby and cricket and other sports get much bigger headlines. But if you go to a school on a weekend, there's 3-4 fields full of kids playing hockey. So it's a really popular sport. You should get a lot more credit than what it does get.
Yeah, it is very big at school level. Very, very big. Sean, thank you for having me. It was good chatting to you guys. I hope I helped out something or somewhere, somehow.